and I want to welcome a rock star to the screen, Miss Kayti Schwarting out of Western Nebraska, the great market of Nebraska. Katie's the regional sales coordinator, but a little bit of background on Kayti. And she's been with Aflac for 15 years. She's a two-time President Club qualifier, Amos Award nominee, and get this, friends, she's going to talk process. So I want you to understand that her process, it definitely carries some clout. In January of 2017, Kayti was a $400,000 district. Fast forward to now, she has grown that from scratch to now a $3 million region, leveraging a process that she's going to share with you today. Kayti, it's always a privilege to be with you on these calls. Thank you so much for joining on Incite. How are you today?
Thank you, Austin. I am wonderful. I'm excited to speak to the Aflac Nation, and I feel very honored to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. And so, Kayti, I'm going to brag on you a little bit because I've learned about your process. And really the only word that comes to mind when I look at your business model, your execution strategy is intentional. That word intentional. I've seen the way that you've grown this thing, and it's not just I'm focusing on new over here and existing over here, but this being very intentional, how you figured out a way to execute where really you're driving both sides of the house simultaneously. And so I would love for you to just break down the process a little bit today, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the motivation behind it. Does that sound like a plan to you?
Sounds great, Austin. Thank you.
Well, you know me, Kayti, I'm a bucket guy. I like to break things into buckets. So we're going to break this into 3 buckets. In bucket number 1, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about before you get to the decision making. What are the non-negotiables? What are the things that you absolutely do before you even get to a DM or a re-DM meeting? So go ahead and share with us how you set yourself up for success.
You bet, Austin. I'm a real sucker for preparation. So for the DM bucket, the number one thing that we want to do is prepare letters of recommendation. We want those to be mailed to the decision maker prior to the decision maker meeting. You want the letter of recommendation to contain objection-based stats such as 7 of my 10 employees participate. Each employee spends on average of $800 of their own money. And due to increase in prices, I gave up on major medical and I now pay for Aflac $100 a month for my employees. Make sure to do this so during your DM presentation, rather than handling objections, you're discussing them. In the re-DM bucket, we always prepare group statistics. Why did we prove to be a good business partner in the previous 12 months? What was in it for the employer? And we want to prepare for that need-based conversation. Was there any pre-tax savings? What were the participation ratios? And how much dollars did the employees spend on a voluntary basis? Also, does a claims experience report apply here? Use the enrollment-based stats that you have, then ask for a letter of recommendation. Discuss how the objections inside the letter, based on the statistics from the enrollment, help you in new account acquisition. So you're really planting the seed there to ask for referrals. We also come with a researched wish list of groups to run a COI with the re-DM. You want 5 to 10 people on the list and never more. And you want the exact businesses in your funnel. Prepare to ask for referrals with intent and stop asking generalized statements like, who do you know that would like Aflac? Prepare them to ask them for people exactly who are in your funnel that you are trying to work with, either in their industry or in their town. And the last, and what I think is the most important, is a full business survey. A re-DM should look nearly exactly like a DM. Do not assume that anything has changed, and do not walk in and simply ask for an enrollment date. Prepare yourself to take the trip with the business owner and yourself for the resell.
Yeah, Kayti, just to recap, because there's a couple big ticket things there. So you're being that proactive. You're teeing up. If you have a new DM coming up, you're sending them via mail a letter of recommendation that basically covers some objections that you may get So you're doing that in advance. Talk about intentional, talk about being proactive. So you're really taking away those bullets before you even get in the seat. I love that. And then the other thing was with the re-DM. So you're planting that seed. So you come prepared with a wish list, a well thought out wish list that you can ask for introductions to in that meeting. And I know that in Western Nebraska, you're dealing with a lot of geography. So you want to work really smart when you have that face-to-face time with that decision maker. So I keep going back to this word, just being proactive, being intentional. So I love that. So let's fast forward. So you've done this pre-work, and now you're there. Talk a little bit about maybe the re-DM, if you will. What are the non-negotiables that have to take place in that meeting, Katie?
You bet, Austin. We consider there's 4 non-negotiables for the re-DM conversation. The number one and the most important is definitely getting the non-policyholder name and addresses. So you're going to ask for the full employee name and address list, and we're going to politely tell the business owner, not ask them. We're going to show them copies of what we're going to send, and we're going to take the trip to them for what's in it for them regarding the efficiency of the enrollment, preventing billing errors, date and time of open enrollment, and limiting follow-ups. The benefit letters also have the agent name and number at the bottom to allow individuals to reach out ahead of time about private matters. More importantly, for the agents, districts, and regions on the call, the benefit letter allows all decision makers in the home to participate, and that's the most important to why they work. The second is the service day. You want to go complete all the claims prior to open enrollment, so the payments are to the insured by open enrollment day. It's very important to not complete the service day 2 days prior to open enrollment because the money must be in the insured's pocket for it to work. Number 3, we're going to ask for the letter of recommendation for future clients that contain the objections we spoke about previously. It's never too soon to ask. Referral letters should have stats on the enrollment, and it does not discuss Katie is nice and answers her phone. Unfortunately, that just doesn't close groups. So remember, it's never too soon to ask. The referral letters and the recommendation letters should have stats on the enrollment, not necessarily anything else. Number 4, run the COI from your funnel target list. Everyone wants to know how they can thank us, and we're always so humble and gracious and say, don't worry about it, it's my job. There actually is something you can do for me. These are a list of businesses I'm currently trying to partner with. Others can view me as a salesman, but having you help me lets them know that I'm a true business partner and how I impacted your business. And I think that's the most important step, Austin.
Yeah, just so much gold in that. And again, just, I like how you said, take the trip, right? Going back to the importance of when you're meeting with them, we've got to identify what's that current situation. Again, going back to the bridging technique. And then making sure that you're providing, I like what you said, making sure that they know what's the value that we've been bringing to this relationship over the last however many months. And then some other things, just doing the service work before you get there, et cetera. Just so many good things. All right, so let's take the next step, because I know this one you're really passionate about talking about, and that's post-enrollment. And it's not just post-enrollment, but it's also leveraging we call it a service binder, the Aflac Administrative Guide, but you've referred to that as your secret weapon. So, Katie, I'd love for you to dive in and talk a little bit about the post-enrollment and some of those non-negotiables with that meeting, please.
You bet. I always say it's not how many groups you open, it's about how many groups you keep. Business owners have to see it and feel it, and perception is reality. A common mistake is thinking that total paid claims equals a long-term client. And it's all about the presentation of the folder. It sets the service standards and the expectations, and it eliminates time vampires and future escalations due to small miscommunications. Inside the service binder, you're going to want your alphabetized PDA. You're going to want your deduction summary, copies of plan documents, if any, copies of the value-added service. Make sure the value-added service is picked on the pain points and inside the service binder so it gets utilized. You're again going to show the owner the value Aflac is bringing to their business. You're going to want to discuss potential tax savings, participation ratios, and the voluntary employee dollars spent per person. During the service binder delivery, you're going to want to set up your first invoice meeting and set up your quarterly service visits. And the last but not least is pick up that letter of recommendation that you asked for during the re-DM and give them follow-up on the referrals and the progress of them that they gave you during the re-DM. It sounds crazy, Austin, but that's it. A simple 3-ring binder keeps everyone on the same page.
Yeah, but it's simple but effective, because what a great tool. Not only that, but I think it's the cadence of your communication with the client, setting up that service commitment. Those are relationship touch points. We can't control everything that's going on, but we can control the relationship that we have with our clients. And if I'm corresponding with them monthly, if I'm seeing you as a client, once every couple months, and we're checking in and we're keeping that relationship strong with solid service, you know what? It's going to be a lot harder for me to say yes to maybe a competitor. So I love the process. So that's a lot, Kayti. I mean, you're all in on this deal, and I would love to know. What else can you add about your process that's probably really important for the Aflac Nation to hear?
I really do. I believe ownership is the biggest thing, and you can do it too, you guys. It's all about renewals. Tracking and watching where your money is coming from. This is how you know your process is working. Are you getting paid one time, or are you getting paid 20? And are you brave enough to inspect your process? Stop blaming competitors and start looking in the mirror. I am passionate about this because I can control all of it. Aflac has given us everything we need, and we just need to take ownership on implementation and checkpoints. What do you want? When do you want to retire? And are you keeping enough on the books to get what you want? For me personally, I will retire at 40 with $400,000 in annual renewals. What do your renewals and projections look like? Is your annualized premium growing on an annual basis, or are you losing more than you're selling?
That's powerful. So I know that there's a huge financial opportunity, and I think I need to call you one-on-one and learn more about this process. I'm a little bit past 40, so I need to do some catch up. But Kayti, there's also a bigger driver for you, a deeper purpose, if you will. Are you open to sharing about that? So not just about the money side of the house, but there's something even closer to your heart. I'd love for you to share that if you're open to it.
You bet, Austin. I'm 36 weeks pregnant, so I'm going to try to get this out with as least emotion as possible. But the main thing, you guys, is we sell policies hoping that we're never going to use them. And we sell peace of mind. While peace of mind is not a tangible thing that you can actually hold, I can tell you in both cases, I personally felt what peace of mind is. 2 of my career biggest claims were actually on myself and my children. One of them being well over 6 figures. I had twins born at 26 weeks and 5 days. They were 2 pounds and 6 ounces each. Dixon got down to 1 pound 15 ounces, and Decker was 2 pounds. The Aflac money started coming in right away, and so did Dixon's infections. When the doctor came to me and said that Dixon was showing signs of infection, but we were unable to do an MRI until Blue Cross Blue Shield pre-authed it, I immediately stepped over him and said, we don't need to wait for the pre-auth. I'd like to pay cash for that. And he looked at me like I was crazy. And because I was able to pay cash due to the Aflac benefits, Dixon had an MRI 24 hours prior to anticipated. I always ask myself, if infection would have took over his 1 pound, 15 ounce body, did Aflac save my child's life? The second is a little bit more, is a little bit different, a little bit less emotional, because I got to take my mom hat off, and it was on me myself. I had a car wreck and a life flight that ended up in a severed artery and a possible amputation of my foot and leg. Peace of mind can be so different as a mother than as a patient yourself. As the life flight was coming in and they were pushing me up to the helicopter, I remember thinking, well, if this is how I go, I guess this is it. I knew I was leaving a legacy with my renewals, and I was happy with what I had accomplished. I knew I was leaving footprints. Aflac was founded to help people. We are educators and we do what matters, and it's far bigger than you and me. Starting my career at the young age of 19, I would like to say thank you, Aflac. Thank you for allowing me to grow up with you, and thank you for being there when I needed you the most.
Kayti, thank you. I know that can't be easy to get through, but I mean, you know, you shared with us so much today, and I just wanna thank you. I'm just, what a privilege to be with you today. There you have it, Aflac Nation. I mean, we talked about some techniques. We talked about a success story with Lincoln. We heard about Kayty's process, and then we really heard, you know, why am I this intentional? Why do I work this hard? And then I think that last story really was the icing on the cake. I mean, what a great reminder. You know, we have the opportunity every day to go out there and find Kayti. That's our goal. Our goal is to get out there every single day and find that next Kayti, because they're out there. I mean, right now, lunch at 12:32 Central Time, somebody's sitting across the desk from a physician getting a cancer diagnosis. Somebody's being admitted to the emergency room for a heart attack or stroke. Somebody's, you know, picking their kid up from school because of an accident that happened. Business owners, individuals, all these things are happening right now. And the reality is tomorrow at this time, these things are going to be happening too. It's on us. Let's go use these tools. Let's go find those people. And I hope you enjoyed this segment. I hope you got a couple nuggets out of it. Thank you so much. With that, I believe I'm passing it back to Andy Glaub. So thank you for the time.
All right, Austin. Thank you. Lincoln, thank you. Kayti, what an incredible job. Listen, you delivered a powerful reminder of what we do each and every day. Sincerely, thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I think this is the perfect time to hear that story and to talk about the incredible opportunity with Aflac. Well, it's all